So I'm sure you've heard Charlie Kirk has been tragically shot. There's a lot of opinions going around. I'm of the opinion you should at least respect the man's life, that he had his opinions, and not celebrate what happened, because if you celebrate that, you're celebrating the method of how it happened. If it was a natural cause, a natural death, that's one thing. But if you're celebrating an assassination, you're condoning that. That's the gist of how I feel, but I want to get into something else. I want to talk about one of the more uncomfortable positions that I kind of understand how people feel about. So let's hear what Don Lemon and his interviewee has to say.
Do you know Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, I do.
And what do you think of what happened to him?
You know, sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold. I hate to celebrate someone's death, but when you talk about guns rights and you talk about how much the Second Amendment matters to you and then it impacts you, like, what do you expect? You know, sympathies to his family, but this is why we need gun control.
One of my friends said on social media, he died in a world that he wanted.
Yeah, he said it himself, right? There's a whole quote that's been floating around about like sacrifices were made for the Second Amendment.
Okay, so there it is, and I'm pretty sure Charlie did say something like that. It's not very, very bent out of context, I don't think. I haven't seen his entire speech. However, what he wasn't doing was condoning people using them against people who've got different political points of views. What he was saying, this is what I get out of it, is that there's going to be no way to 100% control what happens. So, of course, there's going to be incidents and accidents and shootings and things like that. But he wasn't actually condoning using it aside from an appropriate defense. So they kind of act like he was actually actively wanting it used against people as a right. It's kind of tricky, but you have to think about what the person actually stood for.
Still exists. It's something along those lines, right? It's an ad-lib, but yeah, this is what happens. You reap what you sow, and you know it's sad that someone died, but also, hey, you know.
What do you say to people who might say that you're unsympathetic and you need to be more human about it?
I don't know. Reread slavery, rewatch Roots. There are so many different eras of American history in America where worse things have happened to people. And, you know, and we've turned a blind eye. You want us to erase the Confederacy. You want us to erase all these different things, but why should I have more sympathy for someone that you don't know pain really? If this is the worst thing you could think of, you don't understand what other people have gone through.
Do you think that this will make a difference with getting people to actually sit down and talk about some sensible gun laws?
No, unfortunately not.
All right, I'll say something else kind of controversial. I'm getting kind of fatigued, as they say, of like what happened like 150 years ago. I mean, you know, at a certain point, we've got to just keep moving forward. If that era keeps following people throughout all human history, there's just really never going to be getting along. It's always going to come back. Well, 150 years ago, this happened. 200 years ago, this happened. 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Like, at what point are we going to keep it about what's going on now? I know, I said it. It's controversial, but, you know, there's a breaking point where at a certain point, let's focus on now.
You know, it's going to galvanize the right. You know, they're going to place it on some like leftist extremist or something like that. And the conversations that need to be had won't be had.
Someone on Fox News said, I think it was Jesse Waters, said that we're at war with them or they're at war with us, meaning liberals.
Yeah.
You think there's going to be retribution for this? Are you concerned about that?
Politically, I think what we see happening in D.C. and what the threats that the president's making in Chicago are a prelude to something that could be worse, you know? Think about like 1984 with the thought police. You know, this is an era where we're coming in where they're censoring what you could say on social media. They're, you know, certain hashtags are immediately flagged. You know, there's going to be a reckoning. Hopefully, it won't be a violent one, but it'll be a political one. I think.
Right, which is exactly what a lot of people were saying about policing words 4 years ago about certain genders, about certain political people. This is what we were saying about Gina Carano, is she made this meme and she got fired for it. That's exactly like the 1984 type stuff people were saying was not correct 4 years ago. Here's the other thing. Now that the topic has come up, and I guess I'm talking about it, is I don't think that if you say, well, if you commit a gun crime, you're going to jail is good enough. I mean, some people who've got nothing to lose look at that as a free meal for the rest of their life and shelter for the rest of their life. Obviously, they're in jail and they're going to have to deal with a lot of other things, but it is fundamentally food and shelter forever. So, I mean, unless the punishment is a little different than that, people won't be scared to do it necessarily. You can't take all the guns away. They're out there. There are millions. I mean, that's not going to happen. So, you got to set examples. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.